8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Indrani Seranayaka. The headlines. The President instructs officials to implement an integrated program with the state and private sectors to ensure food security. Suspect arrested over death of 9-year-old girl from Atulagama. Sri Lanka police says that another 37 persons have been arrested for illegally storing fuel for the purpose of selling it at a higher price. CBSL reassures commitment to ensuring availability of foreign exchange for import of essentials. Askeria chapter Anunayaka Thera says the executive presidency should not be abolished. Distribution of domestic LP gas cylinders to resume tomorrow. Sri Lanka seeks short-term financial assistance from World Bank. Sapugaskanda oil refinery plant resumed operations today. News from overseas. Ukraine may soon get US long-range MLRS rocket system. And in sports news, Finch still tinkering as he seeks end to reasonably lean patch in lead to T20 World Cup. We take a look at the main news stories. A 29-year-old has been arrested on suspicion of death of the little girl who went missing from Atulagama area last week. The suspect is reportedly a resident of the Atulagama area in Bandaragama. The body of the 9-year-old girl, Fatima Aisha, who was reported missing from Atulagama area in Bandaragama since Friday morning, was found in a marshland located close to her home on Saturday evening, that is the 28th. Bandaragama Police, the Crimes Investigation Division of Pandadura Police and Intelligence Officers had launched joint probes over the disappearance of the girl, while 4 police teams were deployed in search of her. She has reportedly left her home to go to a nearby shop on Friday morning and had not returned home. Following a complaint lodged by the girl's parents with the police, a search operation was launched and CCTV footage was found showing the girl entering and leaving the shop. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed officials to implement an integrated program with state and private sectors to ensure food security. Discussions with several countries to meet the food requirements have been successful. Therefore, the President has requested all farmers to not give up cultivation in the Yala season due to fertilizer shortage or any other reason. The President expressed these views during a discussion today at the Fort President's House on cultivations in the Yala season and on minimizing food shortage that could occur. The President pointed out that a national fertilizer policy should be prepared soon to bring down fertilizer distribution management and for coordination between farmers and officials. The Agriculture Ministry should intervene to allow cultivations using chemicals or organic fertilizer according to the wishes of the farmers. The farmers should be given the opportunity to earn an income by encouraging them to cultivate other crops in their fields that have not been used in the Yala season. The President instructed to release the Kandakadu farm under the Livestock Development Board for crops including maize and soya beans. It was decided to identify government lands which have not been cultivated and hand them over to the young cultivators. Minister Mahinda Amarveera, who was present on the occasion, said that the encouragement should be given to cultivate home gardens and lands of government officers. He said that the participation of parliamentarians and all public servants should be obtained for this purpose. It was decided to launch a joint cultivation promotion week in the provinces by identifying the crops that should be cultivated and to issue funds without limitations for the provincial councils for agriculture, livestock and freshwater fish industry. The President instructed the manufacture of phosphorus fertilizer for the Maha season using the Appawella phosphate deposit. Discussions took place on providing animal feed to control the price of milk, eggs and poultry products. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka, CBSL, today reassured its commitment to ensuring the availability of foreign exchange through the banking system for importation of essential food items, which also requested the trading community and the general public to act responsibly under the prevailing challenging circumstances. The Ministry of Finance has issued import control regulations on payment terms number 7 of 2022, dated 6th May 2022, and to be effective from the 20th of May 2022 by restricting the use of open account payment terms or consignment account terms subject to conditions when importing goods to Sri Lanka. This measure complements the various other measures that are being implemented by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and the government in order to improve the foreign exchange liquidity conditions in the domestic banking system. It has been brought to the notice of the CBSL that concerns are being raised at various cohorts of trading community that there will be a large shortage of essential food items in the country due to the above-mentioned restrictions on payment terms, the statement said. The Sri Lanka police says that another 37 persons have been arrested for illegally storing fuel for the purpose of selling it at a higher price. The suspects were arrested in 38 raids carried out within the last 2 days, police spokesman SSP Nihal Taldua said. A police spokesman said that 814 litres and 800 millilitres of petrol and 4,328 litres and 500 millilitres of diesel in total were seized from the suspects. An application introduced by the police headquarters has been installed at more than 1,400 petrol stations, and 2,800 vehicles have been observed refueling twice or more a day, the police spokesman said. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. We continue with local news. The Litro Gas Company says that the distribution of 50,000 domestic LP gas cylinders will resume from tomorrow, that is the 31st. Accordingly, the distribution of 12.5 kilograms, 5 kilograms and 2.3 kilogram gas cylinders will resume from tomorrow. It said that the list of dealers with stocks have been updated on the company's official website, litrogas.com. A shipment of 3,500 metric tons of liquefied petroleum LP gas has arrived in the country today, while the uploading of gas stocks has already commenced. Last week, the Litro chairman said that the payment of $6.5 million has been made for 2 shipments of liquefied petroleum LP gas with a total quantity of 7,500 metric tons. Accordingly, the shipment of this with 3,500 metric tons of gas has reached the Colombo port today. The unloading process is in progress. The chief Anunayaka, the most venerable Anamadwe Dhammadasi Thera, said that the proposed constitutional reform should address the economic issues and provide relief to the common masses. The Thera made these remarks when Justice Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa made a courtesy call visit to the Asgiriya temple last morning. The minister also received blessings of the Thera on the occasion. The Anunayaka Thera emphasized that the executive presidency should not be abolished. The World Bank country manager in Colombo, Chio Kanda, recently called on the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Professor G.L. Pires, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Pires sought assistance from the World Bank until long-term assistance materializes through the IMF and other international institutions and donor countries. The minister highlighted the severity of the challenges in reducing the budget deficit at the forthcoming budget, the minister said in a statement. The minister stated that short-term financial assistance from the World Bank would be appreciated until sustainable solutions are found. The World Bank country manager stated that her office is also working with other organizations such as the ADB, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB, and UN office, and encourages them for repurposing their already committed projects to help the people of Sri Lanka at this difficult time. She said the World Bank will disburse approximately $700 million to Sri Lanka within the next few months, the statement said.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Ministry of Power and Energy says around $100 million has been spent on fuel to produce electricity monthly. This is a burden to the country. Taking this into consideration, the government plans to implement a special power generation program using renewable energy sources from next month to reduce the fuel consumption. Accordingly, solar panels will be installed in government institutions to reduce the power consumption from the national grid. This will reduce the expenditure of the fuel on power generation and thereby reduce the unit cost on electricity. This will further reduce the cost burden on the consumers. This rapid program will be implemented from next month. Meanwhile, the Sapagaskanda oil refinery plant resumed operations today. The plant was out of operation for some time due to the lack of crude oil. However, the plant operation is back to normal as the necessary stocks of crude oil arrived in the island.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
The health sector points out that unnecessary gatherings should be minimized during these days. Director of the Colombo Lady Ridgeway Hospital, Dr. S. Vijaysurya, said that if people follow the health guidelines further, a risk of the recreation of another corona wave can be prevented. He requests the public to adhere to health guidelines strictly during these days. The government plans to administer the fourth dose. In the first phase, the government plans to implement the fourth dose vaccination to the above 60s age group. That was Watchlights.
Coming up, World News.
World News headlines: Ukraine may soon get US long-range MLRS rocket system. Peter Dutton, staunch Conservative, named Australia's opposition leader, and Nepal plane crash. Rescuers recovered 20 bodies from wreck. The US government appears close to sending a long-range multiple rocket system MLRS to Ukraine. Russia sees such deliveries of heavy weapons as a provocative escalation. President Vladimir Zelensky and other Ukrainian officials have urged delivery of the MLRS to counter Russia's heavy bombardments in the eastern Donbas region. Russia continues to pound Severodonetsk region and other parts of Donbas with rockets, tanks and airstrikes. Australia's main opposition party has named prominent Conservative Peter Dutton to succeed Scott Morrison as leader after a bruising election loss. Mr. Dutton, the former Defence Minister, was elected unopposed by Liberal MPs. The Liberal National Coalition had governed for almost a decade when it lost to Prime Minister Anthony Albanese's Labour on the 21st of May. Rescuers in Nepal have so far recovered 20 bodies from the crash site of a small plane carrying 22 people, an official has told the BBC. The wreckage of the plane, operated by Nepali carrier Tara Air, was recovered in Mustang district in northern Nepal. The passenger plane was on a 20-minute flight when it lost contact with air traffic control 5 minutes before it was due to land. To end this bulletin of world news, we take a look at the headlines again. Ukraine may soon get US long-range MLRS rocket system. Peter Dutton, staunch Conservative, named Australia's opposition leader. Anti-Nepal plane crash. Rescuers recovered 20 bodies from wreck. That was world news. And next is development news. ASMET, the Association for Small and Medium Enterprises in Tourism, congratulates Harin Fernando on his appointment as the Minister of Tourism and expressed their good wishes for him. ASMET also urged the passing of the new Tourism Act as a matter of priority to salvage the ailing tourism industry of the country. The statement says, we believe Sri Lanka tourism has an important role in developing the country's economy, and under your guidance, we hope to be able to recover from the devastating impact the country is facing today. We would like to draw your attention to the following for the betterment of the tourism industry and SMEs involved in this industry. As a matter of urgency, the proposed Tourism Act should be passed in Parliament to promote the development of the tourism industry and the industry's SMEs.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Sports cricket. Australia selectors and new coach Andrew McDonald are adamant T20 skipper Aaron Finch is under no pressure for his place in the T20 World Cup title defence later this year, but he is eager to quieten the public debate about his form. Australia's white ball team heads back on the road on Wednesday for 3 T20s and 5 ODIs in Sri Lanka beginning on the 7th of June. The T20 side will be nearly at full strength, with only Pat Cummins and Adam Zampa missing from the team that won the World Cup last year. Cummins is resting from the T20 series after playing in the IPL, while Zampa is on paternity leave.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The People's Bank announced the results for the quarter ended May 31st, 2022, with consolidated total operating income growing by 51.9% to reach 42.6 billion LKR, whilst total operating expenses increased by only 0.3% to 13.1 billion LKR, despite inflationary pressures, reflecting sound cost control and efficiency improvements being undertaken on an ongoing basis. That was business news. Up next is economic news.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Sri Lanka should urgently move away from an import-dependent economy to an export-oriented setup, said CBSL Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe. He was addressing a meeting with young entrepreneurs on the present status of the economy in Colombo recently. Over the years, Sri Lanka has been relying on imports and paid less emphasis on exports, which has resulted in a huge debt mainly to service the import requirement. The governor identified the mismatch of imports and exports as one main reason for the economy to contract.
The weather report.
The Met Department says prevailing showery conditions and windy conditions over the island is expected to slightly enhance today and the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and the Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Matara districts. Heavy showers above 100 millimeters may occur at some places in the western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in the Nuwara Eliya, Puttalam, Galle and Matara districts. Several spells of showers may occur in the Anuradhapura district. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Uva province and in the Ampara and Batticaloa districts during the evening or at night. This weather report was published this evening at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the international weather forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather was cloudy with occasional showers. Today's temperature was observed to be around 29 degrees centigrade. There will be light showers in many places in Colombo, in the Colombo district overnight. Tonight's temperature will be around 26 degrees and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature could be 25 degrees centigrade at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index, AQI, is 17. Which shows excellent air condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. That was the weather report. To end tonight's news broadcast, we take a look at the headlines again. The President instructs officials to implement an integrated program with state and private sectors to ensure food security. Suspect arrested over the death of 9-year-old girl from Atulagama. Sri Lanka police says that another 27 persons have been arrested for illegally storing fuel for the purpose of selling it at a higher price. The CBSL reassures commitment to ensuring availability of foreign exchange for import essentials. The Asgiria chapter Anunayaka Thera says the executive presidency should not be abolished. Distribution of domestic LP gas cylinders to resume tomorrow. Sri Lanka seeks short-term financial assistance from World Bank. Sapagaskanda oil refinery plant resumed operations today. News from overseas. Ukraine may soon get US long-range MLRS rocket system. And in sports news, Finch still tinkering as he seeks end to reasonably lean patch in lead up to T20 World Cup. That ends tonight's news broadcast.